Alright, so hey guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are all doing well. Today, I just want to sit down and talk a little bit about something that I'm pretty excited about, and that is that I have my own gaming PC. So IWN came to me a couple of days ago and asked me, alright, if you could have a gaming PC, what would you have in it? And we ended up putting something together. I've got the little PC picker part list of all the components that are going to be in this PC. We're going to be doing a little bit of an overview on it and just talking about why I chose the parts that I did, and also just kind of doing a little bit of a promotion for the PC on the website. I do get a kickback from any of these PCs that are purchased, so make sure to weigh that in your decision. If that, is something that kind of sets off a red flag for you, then don't go and buy the PC. I do have some videos up on these guys just talking about them as a company, but I trust them. They're pretty good guys. I've talked to the owner a bunch, and they're super communicative. But yeah, again, if that's not something that you want to participate in, if you don't want to give me money, then don't consider the PC. But we're going to get to the rationale of the parts that I picked, talk about the pricing of this PC, and talk about all the components that are going to be in the PC. So first off, let's just talk about the CPU. So I know a lot of you guys might be questioning why I picked the i7 10700F, and it's not because the 10700F would be my first choice. But it's because that it was the best choice that I could have picked between all the CPUs that IWN was getting offered in their supply stream. So as of right now, it's pretty hard for them to get any sort of Ryzen processors. So that was pretty much out of the way. And getting anything 12th gen just in general is super hard, even for basic OEMs like Dell. iPower really don't have a whole lot of 12th gen CPUs just kind of hanging out, so neither does IWN. And 11th gen is significantly more expensive than 10th gen, so that's kind of why I just picked 10th gen on here. It should still perform extremely well. It's an 8-core 16-thread processor. It's going to be pretty much on par with a Ryzen 7 3700X, if not a tiny bit better in some scenarios. But yeah, so it's going to be a great CPU. And then for cooling, the Cooler Master Liquid ML200L. So it's a pretty high reviewed liquid cooler. I know there are some quality assurance problems with it, and I know the mounting bracket aren't particularly great. But the thing is that since it's coming with an OEM PC, those things are going to be covered by them, so they're in charge of mounting it. They're in charge of making sure everything works, and if it doesn't, then you've got the warranty that they offer with all their PCs. And when it comes to the motherboard, I think it's pretty good in terms of the I/O selection. It's pretty extensive. You've got some back USB-C ports. Now you don't have any front USB-C connectors, so that means that on the case that we're gonna have, you're not gonna have any sort of front USB connection. But it should be a pretty good board. Again, you're not gonna be able to overclock on it, but again, the CPU that you're using isn't gonna be overclockable either. So I think in terms of form factor, expandability with the PCIe slots, and just the general look and everything else, I think it's going to be a great board for anybody. So for the memory, this isn't the exact model that we are putting in the PC. I just couldn't find the kit on PC Part Picker, but it is actually the same pretty much RAM, except it doesn't have the same heatsink. It's just not RGB. It's the Hyper Fury Beast, I think is what it's called. Yeah, it's the Hyper Fury Beast, and it's just 2 sticks to 8, so you're running in dual channel. So everything checks out there. It's pretty high speed memory, so it should be able to stay with you for whatever sort of tasks that you need to do. And yeah. Now for our storage, we just grabbed a standard 2TB M.2 NVMe SSD. It's a Kingston drive. But it should be more than fine for whatever you need to do. Again, 2 terabytes I thought was more than enough for anybody, especially if you have a pretty extensive games library, or if you just want to do some content creation. 2 terabytes is a lot of storage for pretty much anybody. So yeah, that's why we grabbed that. And that also leaves you with a lot of expandability, because this drive's only going to be populating one of the 3 M.2 slots that we have on the board. So you've got another 2 to populate, and then you've got all of your SATA connections that you can also use for any 2.5-inch drives or any 3.5-inch hard drives. And then for our video card, the video card that I chose is just going to be an RTX 3060 Ti. I thought this was kind of my favorite card in the Nvidia lineup when they first kind of came out with Ampere. Now you do get the selection between this or a 3060 depending on what you want. yeah. So the price does adjust depending on what ones you want. 3060 Ti is a little bit more expensive, as you know, it's a more expensive card. But the 3060 is also a good card. I don't think either of them are bad. But for the configuration that I would choose, I would definitely go with the 3060 Ti. I think it's probably the best price to performance card on the market. And it is going to be an EVGA model. There's not really going to be any deviation from that because EVGA is pretty much the sole supplier of IWN. So, you know, it's going to be a good card. And I think that everybody's going to be pretty much happy with the graphics experience from this system. And for the case, the Antec DF600, this is probably one of my favorite kind of like cheaper cases that you can get. This was on one of the PCs that I reviewed from IWN. I think it was the Celsa system that I reviewed. And again, it is probably one of my favorite just because of the high amount of airflow, the good build quality, the ease of being able to just pretty much put whatever you want in it. It's super spacious. It's not like a crappy case that a lot of people probably think it would be. Let me see if I can get some more pictures of it here up on Newegg. Yeah, so this is pretty much what the system looks like if you had everything in it, but it's a great looking system. I know it looks a little bit cheesy on the front, but I'm telling you, in real life, it looks super nice. I'm a big fan of the aesthetic, and so I was just like, all right, if you've got this case already for one of your PCs, why don't we just use it on mine? And they're like, yeah, that sounds good. So that is the reason why we picked that case. And for our power supply, I want to get something that you can have for a long time. So we grabbed the EVGA Supernova GA 850 80 plus gold. So yeah, I kind of just said, all right, I want a good power supply in the system that people can keep on upgrading. 850 watts, I think, is pretty much kind of the high end right now for most components. I know maybe later generations of products, we might start using a lot more power than we currently do. But for anything within the Ryzen 5000 series or in the Intel 12th gen series, I don't really think that we're going to be drawing too much from the CPU end and then from the GPU end, unless you have something like a 3090 or a 6900 XT. This thing is going to be fine. I mean, again, even for a 3090, this might kind of be okay. It really just kind of depends on if you're overclocking or just kind of what kind of stuff you're doing with the components in your system. But for this system, it should be way more than enough, and it should give you a lot of upgrading headroom when it comes to just any upgrades in the future. And the cool little addition that they're throwing in, you're getting a free Razer Viper in the box with it. So that's kind of the cool little promotion that we have with the PC. So yeah, that's about it. I'm still super excited that I have a PC. For those of you guys who are considering buying this, and if you do buy it, I really hope you enjoy it. If you guys do have any questions, make sure to go down in the comment section below and hit that comment button, ask away. If you guys have any questions, we do have a Discord server that's going to be linked down below, where you can at me. I'm fine with people adding me on the Discord server, even though I'm the owner. It's not a big deal. So if you have any specific questions for me, just make sure to at HardwareJunkie on the Discord server, and I'll try to get to you as soon as possible. But I am a college student, so it might be a little while before I respond to you on there. So yeah, hopefully you guys have a great holiday, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.